This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Members of the fishing community are pleased that the government has lived up to its promise to provide adequate resources for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. They believe it'll significantly impact the protection of our borders and deter the lingering impact of illegal poaching. We get the story from LaDon Davis.
Statistics illustrate that illegal poaching and fishing in Bahamian waters accounts for some $20 million in net losses per year and is having a negative impact on the commercial fisheries industry. Bahamas Commercial Fisheries Association President Adrian LaRota contends upgrades to those archaic Royal Bahamas Defense Force vessels were long overdue and believes if improvements to the RBDF's assets were not made, poachers would continue to cripple the fisheries industry.
Because we're now seeing larger vessels, larger poaching vessels, which means that they obviously are coming to the Bahamas for the harvesting of as much product as they can possibly harvest. And we're seeing more vessels coming. You know, and we cannot continue to do it, because what is going to happen is the Bahamas is going to be seen as a country that is not able to defend its own borders, and the international community is going to come down on us because we're not able to protect and conserve our fisheries resources.
LaRota lamented that poachers are not only taking a vast majority of the fishing stock, but are also utilizing illegal apparatus and methods that can very easily wipe out an entire fishing industry. He outlined some of the hot spots constantly being targeted.
Places are the southern Bahamas, southwest to some point, around south of Andros, and we're getting more poachers now moving up to the northern Bahamas, north of Grand Bahama, north of the Abacos, because while we the bigger culprits, the larger culprits are the poachers from down south. We also have Americans who would come in on a daily basis who too would poach, because they run illegal fishing operations, they run illegal charters, illegal dive operations, illegal sport fishing operations.
Now, while fishermen await the arrival of the remaining RBDF vessels, LaRota anticipates ironing out some other challenges the industry is now faced with.
Operating a business, fuel costs are still extremely high. We're going to continue to agitate for that, for the reduction in fuel costs, some kind of concession. We currently enjoy some concessions. Some of them have been restored with over the last year and a half, 2 years. But we're going to continue to agitate for further concessions, particularly on fuel, which will help. It'll cut our costs by as much as 20% in some cases. We're going to agitate for an established fisheries market in New Providence.
LaDon Davis, ZNS Network News.
Now to news from Parliament. Although they fight and advocate for hundreds of thousands of workers throughout the country, many trade unions have no legal footing to stand on. Many unions, including some of the largest ones nationwide, are not registered under the 1970 Industrial Relations Act, possibly making them vulnerable when it comes to negotiating with employers. Labor Minister Shane Gibson talked about the issue during contribution to the Industrial Relations Bill 2014 in the House of Assembly on Wednesday.
This bill, Mr. Speaker, is being brought to this August House in order to protect the rights of thousands of Bahamian workers and trade unions that represent their interests and welfare. And as a result of a recent development in the judiciary, this Perry Christie PLP government is moving swiftly to ensure that a significant number of trade union of workers and trade union of employers who may have not followed specific procedural requirements from as far back as 1970, approximately some 45 years ago, are not disenfranchised, and the thousands of workers' terms and conditions of employment are not negatively impacted.
During his contribution to the Industrial Relations Bill, the Member of Parliament for Montague, Richard Liburn, criticized the government for what he charged as an unplanned legislative agenda. Liburn stated that while he supported the bill to have unions registered, bills that have greater impact to bring change should be brought to Parliament.
Everything that I have said in terms of their failures to deal with the real issues in this country is felt by everybody outside of this country, outside of this place, everybody. I have no doubt whatsoever. Members opposite, they live in a dream world. They keep talking to themselves, and you keep hearing it, you start thinking that it's right, but people aren't fooled. People are not people are not dumb. Our Bahamian people can understand clearly the failings of this government, and unfortunately, it has been going for too long. 2 years of it is enough. But anyway, I will not labor the point. I know that it's important that this matter is finalized and that the bill is passed so that the union can have the comfort with which they are seeking.
The defense opened its case today in the John Adderley murder trial. During the proceedings, Adderley's attorney, Muriel Ducille, called a psychiatrist to support his claim that Adderley was suffering from a mental illness when he shot and killed his former girlfriend, Denise Adderley, back in January of 2011. The psychiatrist testified that he examined the accused on 2 occasions at the prison and concluded that in the weeks leading up to the incident, Adderley developed a depressive illness, wasn't sleeping or eating, and was unable to fully comprehend his actions. As a result, he said Adderley suffered from diminished responsibility. However, under cross-examination, the psychiatrist admitted that he did not perform any objective tests on Adderley and based his diagnosis on police reports and the assumption that Adderley was telling the truth. The trial continues before Justice Bernard Turner.
Smartphone users throughout the Bahamas will no longer be limited to watching the national news or programming by sitting in front of their television sets. The ZNS app is now available for download. Chairman of the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, Reverend Dr. William Thompson, made the historical announcement Thursday morning, while News Director and Team Leader on Development, Andrew Burrows, pointed out that the new app is in its initial phase, so users will only be able to enjoy a portion of it, although he hinted users can expect much more in the coming weeks.
With support of the assistance of the LOC and the IAAF, will launch on tomorrow, Friday, May the 23rd, a free ZNS network app, which will allow for the first time residents to download on their mobile devices live streaming of the IAAF Bahamas World Relays. We are nevertheless pleased that Bahamians from Grand Bahama in the north to Inagua in the south will be able to watch the relays on their phones, iPads, computers, and as well as their television screens.
In this first phase, you'll be able to just watch the live feed. But in a few days, maybe a week or so, you'll be able to not only watch live streaming, but you'll also be able to watch content on demand. If you missed the news or wanted to see a story over again, you'll be able to do so. You'll also be able to get a news feed from us where throughout the day as news happens, you'll also be able to follow the news, and it's actually an exciting new feature where we'll be breaking news and making news live as it happens on the app. It represents a fourth platform for the ZNS network with radio, television, internet, and now with mobile. So we're very excited about this.
Also on hand for the announcement was Youth, Sports and Culture Minister, the Honorable Dr. Daniel Johnson, who applauded ZNS for its forward thinking, pointing out the ZNS app will go a long way in marketing the Bahamas to the world.
Find that we have to do things to operate at this level, that when they're gone, we can still operate at this level. And so the things that we are investing in now in technology, broadcasting, even over the stadium, the security systems, all of the systems that we've invested in, these remain our systems.
Well, still to come, got your IAAF tickets yet? Find out if you still have a chance to do so when the Bahamas Tonight continues.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.